Welcome to the garden. For the very first video of 2018, I'd like to bring you guys a little indoor garden tour, starting with everyone's favorite, the succulents. You'll notice we have two main varieties, this tall Stacking Crassula, also known as Stacking Jade. Scientific name is Crassula perforata. And then we have Ghost Plant, or Graptopetalum. And these are a beautiful pale green, almost blue, and they're really one of my favorites. I don't think I've ever brought all my plants together in one place like this. It really looks incredible. Usually these are scattered out throughout the house. I try and pick the sunniest windowsills because they love lots of sun. Now that we are getting longer days, we can start giving these a little bit more water and even a little fertilizer if you like. Anything that looks really thin or shriveled just needs to plump up with some water. They're nice and tall, which is, I think, my favorite thing about them. These are related to the common jade, but they don't look anything alike. If we follow this one down here, you can see them side by side. I've only got a couple of these jade plants, but they're doing fairly well. I'm seeing quite a bit of new growth. It's really shiny, light green. It's gorgeous. With these we can actually grow from cuttings. You can take stem cuttings or individual leaves. I think we have some down here. You can see these jade leaves are sprouting new roots. So if we just bury those just under the surface of the soil, I want to make sure not to damage those roots. And we don't want to go too deep because where the roots are growing from, the leaves will also sprout from. So we'll just cover them up and give them a little drink. In fact, after this tour, I think I'm going to give everything a drink. These Stacking Jade propagate so well, it's just incredible. Most of these are propagations from just crown cuttings. So that's why some of these look a little bit small, because all they were was this little rosette at the top. These crowns are really hardy, they grow roots incredibly fast, and it's my favorite way to propagate them. So this one that's overhanging, we're just going to cut it all the way back. From here, I'd like to take a crown cutting. This is definitely my favorite way to propagate. Just take that top crown, just like this. Now we're going to let this wound heal for a couple days. You can see it's a little shiny there. We don't want to stick that directly in wet soil, or it could potentially rot. But I usually like to plant them either in dry soil, or let them heal for a day or two before planting. This one I actually left for about a month, and check it out, it's actually growing roots. This was not in the soil at all, it was just resting on the soil. So you can see they're really tough. These leaves are a little thin, so it's definitely thirsty. We'll plant this out too. Besides the crown, we're also going to use all these little stem segments. So we can cut it here where it bends, just for convenience. We can strip down this bottom leaf if we like. So this way, when we go to bury this, we can plant it all the way up to here and it'll grow roots all along the stem. I like to propagate these Graptopetalum a little bit differently. I take much larger cuttings. I'll try and take something like this over here, where it's a beautiful rosette and a nice piece of stem. I'll show you just how easy it is to clean this up and start a brand new container at the same time. So what we want to do is take a nice low cut so that we don't end up with a stump. Now I think this rosette is actually coming off of that same branch, so we don't want to go too low, otherwise we'll lose that. But right about there, and in fact, we've actually got new roots forming already. That'll actually give us a nice head start. But as usual, we want to let this wound heal. But before we do that, I do like to take off a few of these bottom leaves. They should pull right off. Just be careful you don't strip that skin there. But now we'll be able to actually bury this right up to here. Give it a good anchor And once this wound heals, these roots will stay nice and moist down low. This is really simply just some potting mix with a little extra perlite, but all I'm doing is very gently pressing it down as low as we can. So again, we'll take this all the way down, and actually this stem is a little bit long, so I'm going to shorten it up, just like that. So the last one we'll cut is this one over here that's overhanging. But we'll slice in as low as we can, and look at that. Isn't that beautiful how we clean this up? It's really nice and compact, everything looks nice and neat, and we've got a brand new container started. So just like our other cuttings, all I'm going to do is strip these bottom leaves. This one has quite a few, but this will actually give us plenty of chances to propagate new plants from leaf cuttings. Now there's not much root on here, but there is one little tiny root, so we'll be very careful as we press this in. If you want, you could just set these into an empty pot and then backfill with soil. That'll be really nice and gentle. Don't worry about losing those leaves. Those will actually root on their own. So just like that, we've cleaned up this container and started a brand new one. And we still have all of these beautiful little leaf cuttings that could potentially be new plants. They do take a long time to get to this stage, but look, these are brand new plants. And all of these sprouted from one tiny little leaf. We can see how they sprout in this one over here. So there you can see the old leaf and the new growth over here. And once they're established, they get a lot of new leaves really quickly. Besides the two main succulents that I grow, I also have a little mini Kalanchoe back here, and look at this. This is a surprise. It's actually starting to flower. So pretty soon these buds are going to open up to just these beautiful bright red flowers. They're stunning. Two of these plants were actually propagated from this main plant. So we cut it nice and low, and then it forked. And what we want to do later is top them so that they stay low and bushy like this one. And we'll simply just cut off the top. You can actually propagate that too. And my favorite way to propagate these is just by setting those cuttings down in water. I have one right back here that's been rooting in water for probably 2 or 3 months. It has a beautiful set of roots. Look at that, that is really healthy. And that's just in water. So this will take to soil just fine. And we can actually top it right away, because look at how tall this is. We could really shorten that up. In that same container I have a little sedum. And this I took as a little cutting from outside. Look at all those new points of growth. This was just basically a bare stem. You can see the old stem there. And then all these shoots sprouted off. So we'll plant that out too. Here at the back we have snake plants. These are just beautiful. I really love these. They're so low maintenance. A few of these look a little bit thirsty, so we could give them a healthy drink too, along with everything else. I especially like this really little one here. Look at this. This is so cool. It has just beautiful stripes, lovely shapes, and again they're tall, which I really love in a succulent. Down here we have two types of aloe vera. I'm not sure which varieties these are, but they're vastly different. You'll notice the ones on the left are sort of a nice lime green color, and they're fairly short and small. I really like these because they're so tough. I only water them about once every 2 weeks or so, and they do really well. Just last year we separated these because they were all in the same container. I really wanted to separate these because the large ones shoot off new pups, and I wanted to be sure that I was growing the right kind. And it took a long time, but if we look down here, you'll notice there in the center is a brand new pup. And eventually we could actually pluck that out and grow it separately. Because it's right in the center of these really big aloe, I don't think it's going to get much sun. so it'd probably be better off transplanted somewhere else. But aloe are really one of the easiest houseplants to care for. And if you do have to transplant them, just hold off watering for the first week or so. That'll get them acclimated. They actually don't need any water for that first week. And in that time they'll settle and become acclimated to their new container. I hope you can use some of these techniques to grow your succulent garden in 2018. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. I should be doing more regular videos now, but we won't get back to daily uploads until next spring. So I hope you stay tuned for that. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.